What is going on, our friends in film fandom, wherever you may be, however you may be watching and or listening? We appreciate you being here and giving us just a little bit of your time. We are, of course, the Harsh Truth, and I am obviously not Frank. That joke is never going to get old. But he's having some computer troubles, as is the way of the world, it seems like. This poor guy can't just catch a break. But, yep, you're stuck with me again. And we are doing, yet again, another horror movie. And the only person that I would rather have on this channel to do such a thing would be, of course, the Shape from the Lone Star State. And that would be Tex. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well, my friend. One thing occurred to me as I was watching this, and the almost 38 years that I've spent watching these glorious horror films, I might be unkillable because I have seen so many of these scenarios played out on film in front of me. I'm like, okay, don't go down that road if the crazy guy says don't go there. Oh, don't drink that poison water in the cabin. Don't blah, 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 fill in the blank here. You might not be able to kill me. So I might just live forever. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but we'll find out.
I'm sorry, do you want me to just introduce you as the unkillable Tex?
No, don't say that because we don't want to jinx anything. I'm still proving the concept, so we'll find out what happens.
Okay, well,
what's up, everybody? Hope y'all are doing well out there in movie night. So.
Yeah, we'll work it out on the ground. Oh, of course, my mom's here first rather than Casey.
Howdy,
so
BJ.
we always like to see that. I'll just ignore Casey until I feel like he's earned his place on the screen.
Well, there's a few Casey Israels in this movie, but I'm sure we'll get to them as well.
Yeah, I didn't know Oklahoma looked a lot like West Virginia. That's wild.
They say this is West Virginia, but I swear to God, that's like just south of Tulsa. You're like all of these people, that's where they live, but you never know. So.
I mean, it's like Kevin Smith said. He's like, I don't have to actually go to Jersey to film a movie to say it's in Jersey. So maybe they filmed it in Oklahoma. Went around knocking on Casey's door and said, "Hey, you and 3 of your family members want to be in this movie? We got you." Oh Lord, that poor man. All right. Anyway, if you hadn't guessed from the title and Casey's selfie there behind Eliza Dushku, we're here talking about Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn is a 2003 slasher film directed by Rob Schmidt, written by Alan B. McElroy, starring Desmond Harrington, Eliza Dushku, Emmanuelle Chriqui, Jeremy Sisto, and Kevin Zegers. The first installment in the Wrong Turn film series, as it has now become. It follows a group of 6 individuals stalked by a cannibalistic family in the woods of West Virginia. Thank you, John Denver. The development for the film began in 2001, which is a real bummer of a year, but it is what it is, I guess.
Rest in peace, Dale Earnhardt. Never forget.
I was thinking about something else we're not supposed to forget, but something about
no. Everybody knows the worst thing that happened in 2001 was Dale Earnhardt. Nothing else bad happened in 2001. I don't care.
Yeah, something. Let me restart that. Goddamn. Development in 2001 when it was announced that Summit Entertainment and Newmarket Group teamed up to produce Wrong Turn, a 1970s style horror pick to be directed by Schmidt, while McElroy wrote the script. The film was a co-production between Summit and Constantine Film with Stan Winston, the always amazing Stan Winston, I think that should say, designing the creature effects and serving as a producer. Wrong Turn was theatrically released in the United States on May 30th of 2003 by 20th Century Fox. It grossed over $28 million, not a bad bit of change, worldwide against a $12 million budget, but received mixed to negative reviews from critics. Released in the... I said that. Wrong Turn earned just over $5 million during its opening weekend among about 1,600 theaters. It went on to gross a total of 15,000. I'm trying to look at math here because I just kind of copy and paste the stuff because I definitely do research. About 15 million in the United States, 13 million internationally. Okay, there we go. Yeah, making the worldwide gross of 28. So that checks out. The math be mathin'. The critical response, Rotten Tomatoes reports that 41% out of 82 surveyed critics gave the film a positive review. The average rating was 4 out of 10. That's a little
Holy
harsh.
shit. It's a bit rough.
The consensus is, quote, an unremarkable slasher flick that fails to distinguish itself from the others of its ilk. Man, that's rude. On Metacritic, Wrong Turn, people don't like this movie, apparently. Wrong Turn has a score of 32 out of 100 based on 17 critics. Well, you can all be wrong. Indicating, quote, generally unfavorable reviews. Audience polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of a C-. That's still a passing grade, so,
Hey, C's get degrees, my friend. That's what I was always told. So.
Exactly. Maybe the people that reviewed this were the people that were in this movie as the antagonist. I definitely didn't do the other part of this. Damn. Well, I know how the show goes. So, given all that weird mixed review and somewhat more negativity, what did you think of the film? As obviously an unbiased horror fan, what's your thought?
Oh, of course, yeah. I'm totally not addicted to the genre by my name, my walls, where most of my money goes. It's a whole thing. But yeah, no, this one is one of the earlier entries into that early 2000s era of horror that you and I have talked about so many times that so many people overlook. The 70s barely gets mentioned. The 80s gets talked about maybe too much. The 90s, and it had its bright spots, Scream and whatnot. But the 2000s era of horror, I firmly believe, is every bit as good as the 80s. And I'll argue anybody who says otherwise. We had this film. What this film and what so many of the others of the early 2000s did well was it took, like you said a minute ago, it took a 70s concept. I mean, this is a fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, like I was just saying a minute ago. A bunch of kids get lost in the woods and they get eaten and killed. It's not a hard concept. It works, but it's not a hard one. And you take that concept, you up the gore, put some hot chicks in it. They've got plenty in this one. And you tell a good story with some good kills and everything else. So, yeah, I'm a fan of this one. Now, if you get to some of the later sequels, it gets pretty dodgy, I'll be honest with you. But at least for the first two, hell yes, I love these movies. Now, there's no nudity in this one, so automatic half-star deduction, especially with the talent we had in this movie. But
it's the only one that does it. It's really weird. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you would think that there would be some here, but we don't get any, unfortunately. But, yeah. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm looking for something. My mind's like, I need something to look at, so I know which one to add, the question to ask next. Yeah. No, I definitely like this movie for what it is. Oh, hey, look at that! Look who decided to join us. We are.
Frank's not dead. I told the truth.
The call's coming from the side of the house. We're somehow talking to ourselves, but we know it's Frank. Well, when you said like some people that talk about the 80s way too goddamn much, and I was just gonna be like, not anyone I know. Don't get me wrong.
I love 80s horror, but the 2000s should be talked about more. That's all I'm saying. So, does not get enough love. So.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. That's that era that like. I think when you said like the 80s, it's like this is like if the 80s really could go even further and push it,
right?
Not even just with cinematography, but just like with effects and with stuff. Again, what do I always say? You got to go bigger. And in sequel sense, I'm like, in this decade now, it's like we're in that butter zone of like we're getting this movie. We were talking before we got the remake of Texas Chainsaw. We got Saw itself, which we did a whole thing on. You should go watch that. I suffered for the.
Yeah, we spent 9 hours on that already.
Yeah, I feel like I spent 9 hours on the first video with that damn contact. It was fucking my eye. I couldn't see for like a half hour afterward. It was bad.
Jeremy almost blinded himself for his love of the game. So I commend him.
Yeah, I put him in there, and I'm like, oh, let's play a game.
That really was a trap. Holy shit! I just realized.
like
You're talking about the 2000s era, taking the 80s and going forward.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like some other, like I said, like with Saw, Texas Chainsaw, Wrong Turn.
Well, what you had in the 2000s, the 2000s literally brought all of the classic slashers back in order. It started with Leatherface, went to Michael, Jason, Freddy, all of them. Yeah, Michael, now, we don't talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 2009. The only good thing about that movie was the cinematography and Jackie Earl Haley. Besides that, the rest of it was garbage. But the 2000s era of horror, I love that era. You love that era. There's so much good in it, but it just gets overlooked like it was nothing. And I'll never understand that. Makes no sense.
The more that time goes on, we're getting more removed from that era. I've kind of been like, I'm glad I grew up in that time where I can look back and appreciate.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I like the 2000s a lot for what it had. From all standpoints, not just from horror. I'm just like, there's so many things about it that I'm like, I look back at it and I'm like, I like that. That's where I got to live through and experience stuff. Because I mean, some people act like the only things you're allowed to know about or experience are the stuff you were actually alive for, but that's clearly not true with me. Because I mean, it's like, you can watch other movies, right? You can watch things that are it's there, time capsuled for you to watch and appreciate. That's the point. So people are surprised, like, you've seen The Exorcist? Yeah, of course I have. What does that show?
About 150,000 times. Yes, I've seen that.
167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time.
It's the greatest comedy I've ever seen. What are you talking about? So.
Oh, thank you, Michael Keaton, for that. Yeah. This movie, I think, eventually get to the point. This one had a weird nostalgic spot for me because it was also, when we talked about Saw, one of the downfalls of that era was unfortunately the dying industry of going to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, stuff like that.
God, yes.
And I remember
Blockbuster.
Yeah, I remember going. This was
Hollywood Video, Family Video, any video store. So many were good.
The Hollywood Video was going out of town. Yeah, it was going out. Period. And they were just selling everything. So
I remember that.
I went there and I went fucking nuts. And I remember at the time, and who I was with at the time, we bought a bunch of horror movies. And I mentioned this when we did Saw. I was like, one of them was Saw. We sat down and watched all the Saw movies that were to that point, which I think was maybe the fourth or fifth one. And this was one of them too, but this is still early enough that I think all we actually got was Wrong Turn and Wrong Turn 2. I don't recall seeing the other ones. And also, I even more recently looked back and I was like, I didn't know we were still doing this, even as early as 2021 with a reboot. I'm like,
well, what? I think after 2, they went straight to DVD. So Hollywood may have not had them prominent on the show. Because I don't think 3, 4, or 5 got a cinematic release. I believe the first 2 did.
Yeah, I just saw these on video. Let me look at excuse me, what year Wrong Turn 2. Yeah, I was gonna say 2007. I'm like, that had to have been it, because I'm saying this is when I was in high school. This is 2007, 2008. I think the only ones that did exist at that time were 1 and 2. So that's that's.
I don't think 3 came out until 2009 or 10, maybe something like that. I can't remember, but
this was one of the ones I watched, and I just kind of put it in my lexicon of this is me getting into horror movies. And obviously, I mean, I saw Frankenstein and Dracula, the OGs, way back in the day when I was little, and probably not
you gotta watch classic.
Yeah. So, where did my notes go? God damn it! I don't have it on a tab because I wrote it myself and I didn't do it on a tab like Frank usually does. I gotta go back and find it again. But who was the? Because I know we just talk about the director. Yeah, Rob Schmidt. I don't know what this guy is doing. He's kind of, he's 60. Okay, he doesn't look 60 in these pictures. We're talking 20 years ago. So when he made this, I'm trying to see what else has he done. The Alphabet Killer, Crime and Punishment in Suburbia, Speed of Life. Oh, he did one of the Hellraisers, one of the 184 movies of those. So.
He did 2 of the late sequel Hellraisers. The The only things I've ever seen of this guy were the 2 Hellraiser films that he did, and to be honest with you, I can't remember anything about them. I'm not the biggest Hellraiser fan, but I know I saw them just somewhere down the line. And I did see the Alphabet Killer. I don't remember when. I think I saw Alphabet Killer back on the old Chiller whenever that was the TV channel years ago. But that's the only thing I've seen of this guy. Like, I mean, he did good work with this. I mean, it's nothing like this isn't like blow your mind out, holy crap good, but he did good. No. I thought it worked.
Well, unfortunately, the Alphabet Killer has a 5 out of 10 on IMDb, a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yikes.
Well, to be fair, most of the movies that I like or love have bad ratings. I'm just that kind of movie fan. I'm okay with that. It's fine with me.
It's subjective. The thing about the Alphabet Killer, hilariously, that I'm looking at this cast again, Eliza Dushku. So I mean, obviously,
she also starred in that one too. Yeah.
Well. Apparently, the director was Officer Number 1. So whatever that means. He even had Carrie Yules, of Saw fame. He had Michael fucking Ironside. Damn. Bill Moseley, shit, from
Chop.
My favorite Hillbillies. Yeah.
Lick my plate, dog dick. Love that thing. Takes a chainsaw too, man.
Oh yeah. Chop Top is a winner.
Yeah, he got to play Otis and Chop Top. I've never got to meet Bill Moseley. That's one, like, he may be at the top of my list of living celebrities that I need to meet before they die. He may be up there on
top. Yeah, my mom didn't even know I was watching Saw. I was doing that when I was like early. It was like early high school. I remember we bought a bunch of DVDs. We brought them home. We watched. We watched 1 and 2. I remember if we marathoned them all, but man, we watched a couple of them.
Well, don't think about it.
I also watched Cujo when I was younger too, and that was a fun. I mean,
don't think about it as him watching a horror film. Think about it as him as learning how to survive if he ever gets kidnapped. So it's like
all the things to do and not to do.
Right. It's like, oh, okay. If this situation arises, here's how I'm doing it.
It's such a thing that boggles the mind is how I ended up working in a haunted house. I mean, we'll just never understand how that happened.
Right.
Man. I guess there's not much about the director, so I guess we move on to the cast.
Well, one thing I can say real quick though is
I don't know much about him.
The writer of this film, Alan I can't ever say his last name. I wrote it down.
I almost said McElroy.
McElroy. Alan
McElroy.
He wrote maybe my favorite Halloween film besides the Rob Zombie films. He wrote Halloween 4. I love Halloween 4. It is one of the greatest Michael Myers films ever made. It's got the way that McElroy fleshed out Michael and the characters and little Jamie and everything else. I love how he writes movies, and it shows in this movie too. The group of teens, which they're like 25, they're not even really teens in this movie. Our group of survivors.
You're 30 and you're supposed to be 18? Okay, man.
Right. Like, they damn near got gray hair in this movie, but whatever. We're not going to talk about it. The way that the cast of our survivor group in this film, you kind of care about them. And most times, I mean, I'm the villain in the horror film. I'm the guy with the bloody weapon chasing after them. You actually kind of like them in this movie. And that, for me, that's rare. So, the way that this movie was wrote with McElroy, I thought was done well. And, it goes back to, like I said, to Halloween 4 and my love for that film. So, dude does good work.
Hey, we got Joe Compton here asking Tex, how are you doing, brother? Compton? I mean, I'm assuming you probably know each other, judging by the big.
Oh yeah. Joe's cool. He's an old friend. Yeah, he's out there. He's out there probably having to push his F-150 home because he drives one Ford, but whatever. So,
oh no, that's not good. Anywho. Yeah, don't push it through. Hey, don't push it down. That's the whole plot of this movie. You don't get stuck on the wrong damn street somewhere in the middle of nowhere. All right. So I know I have a picture somewhere of it'll work for the time being. There's the group. So not a huge cast, but it still kind of works for its purpose. So what do you think of this cast here with Well, that's basically all the people that are left. Other than oh hell, where are they? Other than these two dipshits right here. That's about as much screen time as
Oddly
you get.
enough,
To be fair. To be
fun
fair.
fact: Wendy Booth that plays Francine right there, the chick that gets it in the mouth, and her boyfriend. We will both see them in a film later on in 2004, Zack Snyder's
Later
Dawn of the
that
Dead,
year.
where they also play a couple,
Boom.
just for the fun, people, the fun facts out there. That's another
Yeah.
thing that whenever I rewatched this movie last night, I was like, I forgot that they were in this movie, and that I was like, I need to rewatch Dawn of the Dead because it's one of my favorite zombie films. But
That's
yeah,
also
I
in
mean,
that butter zone. We got the remake of Dawn of the Dead, which was
oh,
fan
dude, Dawn of the Dead 2004. That may be,
amazing.
besides the original Night of the Living Dead and the remake in 90, 04 Dawn of the Dead might be my favorite zombie movie ever. I can't praise that movie enough. But as far as the cast for this one, dude, so many people good thing. I mean, Julian Rickner has three fingers in this movie. He's kind of a character. I think he's either British or Canadian. I can't remember, but he shows up in like the TV show Supernatural. He's done a couple of others. He's good, but Eliza Dushku, obviously star from Buffy. What was that cheerleading movie she did?
Bring
I
It
can't
On.
remember. She was one of the girl squad from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. One of the girls.
She was
One of the underappreciated final girls of all time. You never see her brought up on the top 10 final girls list or anything else. But she is fucking awesome in this movie. Smoking hot in that tank top, like we were saying a minute ago. Her bloodied up in that tank top on the poster of this movie. God knows how many copies that sold throughout the years, because that's just marketing genius right there. You had Emmanuelle Chriqui. Chriqui. I can never say her last name, but equally as hot, does well, great kill in this film. She'd go. What was the HBO show, not Soprano? About the movie star that HBO did. I can't remember. I can't remember. Either way, I can't remember. But yeah, she was a big name. Jeremy Sisto right there. This has got a great cast, but yeah, this has to be Eliza Dushku for me. I mean, I love watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's my girl. I love her in this film.
Oh yeah, and she also played the daughter in True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah,
she was the teenage daughter. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, just go watch Eliza Dushku and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as I'm the badass girl, and she's, she sleeps with the pizza boy, and she does all the things. She knows not to take herself too seriously, so she was fun.
She was also I'm just gonna put that back up there because definitely a celebrity crush for me. Because I don't need to explain it,
dude. I watched a cheerleading movie just because she was shaking her ass. I went to go see Bring It On just for her.
Right. He was watching for the plot, and this right here was the plot.
Hey, it had great plot, great cinematography. It was tremendous directing. That was awesome.
And for me, on the video game side, she voiced the main character of Ruby from the video game called Wet, where she played. I've told this. I told you about this one before. She she plays like a assassin, and it's the video game is set up like a Grindhouse movie.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, she plays the main character, and it's basically just an embodiment of her. I was like, I mean, for fuck's sake, the way you save the game is you just find there's like a bottle of liquor on a stand. She just grabs it, takes some swig, throws it up in the air, pulls her revolver out, and shoots it out of the sky. I'm like, that's the save animation. That's awesome.
And I did see that it was either yesterday or the day before. Apparently, Eliza Dushku is now, I think it's a licensed therapist. She just graduated from college. She's like, she left Hollywood some time ago, and she got a real job, and I'm sure she's happy in life. So God bless her. She had her fun in Hollywood. Now she's living like the regular folks. So it's all good.
We're gonna start throwing hands here. Joseph's text, I drove a Ford, guaranteed to make it home unlike your GMC Chevy driving house. I don't know, man. I drove a Ford, and there's a reason why it's called Found on the Road Dead. Or fix
I'll call you a tow truck, Joe. Just let me know if you need AAA. So don't worry about
use a AAA, yeah. Back to the plot, or not the plot, but the characters. Yeah, it's obviously Eliza Dushku.
Hey, we can just stare at this picture for an hour and a half. I'm okay with that too.
I mean, it could just be us over top of her picture. I do like the fact that I noticed that too. That I'm like, wait. I've seen these two bastards before. They were in Dawn of the Dead. And I don't know what it is about Kevin Zegers, but I'm like, he must be like not only a horror movie fan, but a zombie movie fan. Because I'll do you one better. He was also a villain in Fear the Walking Dead. He was the leader of the Vultures.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They like camped outside of the settlement of the main characters, and like they're just called the Vultures. I
completely forgot.
They wait you out and just take your shit when you die. They just sit there and basically kind of hold you hostage by just waiting you out and taking your shit, which is kind of an interesting plot line. I was like,
I still want to do a rewatch of everything Walking Dead, but I don't have that much fucking time.
This is the spinoff, so I mean, like, we're already like, there's a lot.
Right.
Also, I couldn't find the picture. There's a picture of him from Fear the Walking Dead, like where he's shooting an AK, and I'm like, this dude and Zac Efron could like play brothers in a movie or something, and I could be totally convinced. They look very similar. It's weird.
That would be believable, yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's get back to that. So, I guess move on to the plot. Pretty straightforward plot. We just get. Well, actually, no. We always gotta have a cold open. I'm sorry. There's always a cold open where you got two unlucky people who just stumble into the wrong part of West Virginia, which I feel like is, probably 80% of that state. And if you're from West Virginia, I completely apologize, but there are some places where you get in the backwoods and where you get to some bad spots here. These two rock climbers unfortunately run across the cannibals. It's kind of done pretty well. You don't really see what happens, but you kind of get the idea of it. And we get to it's a pretty straightforward plot. We got Chris here, who's in his very nice Mustang, which I'm sad to say does not make it much longer. He
once again, that Ford Mustang breaks down in that car crash, and it doesn't handle it well. So I'm only getting proven right here. So I'm saying
that is in fact a Ford vehicle. Holy shit! Chris has got to make a 7 p.m., which is a weird time, meeting in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he's not making it through West Virginia right here. And you get your kind of Texas chainsaw moment here. He finds this dingy gas station with
Crazy Ralph moment.
Yeah, with this little one tooth here who's chugging down a thing of Pepto-Bismol, which, I mean, I'm not going to ask questions about it, but hey, you do you.
Pepto-Bismol on a hot day, man. Life's got to suck. Just saying.
I mean, you look at the poor man. I mean, yeah, that's not having a great day. He might be having a better day than Chris, though, because Chris here runs into, like I said, he runs into who we find out is Jess. We got Scott and Carly, who are the soon to be married couple. I hope nothing bad happens to them, kind of people.
Entourage is what Emmanuelle Chriqui was from. I was trying to think. Entourage. That's I fucking know. I couldn't think of it. Yeah. Entourage.
And Evan and Francine, who are also stuck on the road because I wish I had a picture of it. They run over some barbed wire, which seems to be these rednecks' like favorite thing. I don't know why they use so much.
Fucking razor wire, epic, dude. I need that shit. Like, holy fuck.
That shit was intense. And then it just kind of goes downhill from there. Of course, this is still that golden era when we're talking about Tarantino movies. Like, cell phones ruin everything. I'm like, yeah, but with this little Nokia phone that's this big in the bumfuck nowhere hills of West
Virginia, he could have killed them hillbillies with that brick phone. I had one of those, dude. You could not break those things.
I'm like, that's a weapon. You should have kept that, man.
No shit, dude.
Oh man. And so they got to go. You just got to get out. You got to find the road back or find something. The guy at the gas station had one payphone that, of course, doesn't work.
Of course, it'd be too easy.
So pretty straightforward. They go and they find what you think would be a good refuge. You find a cabin in the woods because that's never gone wrong.
That's not a cliche or anything. Not at
No.
all. Right? It's not a
And
cliche.
also another homage is I kind of feel like it's the classic, again, the cabin in the woods thing, like kind of like Evil Dead or something like that, where
Oh, of course, yeah.
you just stay away from things like that, especially with all these cars here. And yeah, then they start getting picked off one by one by these cannibal inbred hillbillies. I guess, I mean, we can get deeper into the plot, but I mean, for a pretty straightforward plot, I mean, does that work for you? I mean,
That's
I don't
really
know.
it. Now,
Yeah.
one thing I will say about the beginning of this film, and especially coming from this era, one of the most important things in a horror film is the opening scene. And not just the opening scene, but the kill that comes from that. We don't really get one. We see old boy fall over. He gets like one drop of blood, and then he gets chunked off the set. Like, it was a very weak opening. And like, I think my favorite opening kill from this era may be like, once again, Dawn of the Dead that came out the next year, where you see like the little girl roller skating, and she, the next morning, and half of her face is gone, and just masses, death is going on. For this era, there was a lot of good opening kills that were set up to what's to come. Very light in this movie. It started out weak. Now, I mean, maybe they didn't have a better idea or money to put into it. I don't know. Started off weak, but plot-wise, it works. I mean, fuck, they've been doing this plot since 74 or before. You know what I mean? Now, it was obviously popularized like Chainsaw in 74. But, plot-wise, this thing works. It's, generic inbred cannibal rednecks in the backwoods of West Virginia. Pick your place, whether it's, the hills have eyes out in the desert. The chainsaw, family in Texas, the Firefly family in Texas. It's been 100 different ways done. So, plot works. It's just, that's why movies like this come down to the kills and the cast. And I think this one does pretty good. The 4 out of 10 rating or whatever snooty movie reviewer looked at this and had somebody pissing their Cheerios and give it such a bad rating. I can think of about 10 worse movies very similar to this that they would probably think was better, but nevertheless, I think the plot works pretty well. The kills are effective enough, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute, so I'll save that. But plot wise, you get this movie did everything it needed to. It set up. We quickly learned. Okay, here's our setting. Oh, guy's got to go down the back road. Oh, here's Crazy Ralph, cliche, sitting, taking his Pepto-Bismol. Whatever. We see now.
You're the one going to need help.
You don't want to go down that road. Then get you some Pet Cemetery. I can't do a Maine accent, but don't go down that road. Get you some Fred Gwynn going. But one thing I really like about this is how our main cast comes together. It's not like, oh, hey, we're getting gas together. They literally have a fucking car. It's like you don't expect it to happen. It's just boom, there it is. And, they're just all of a sudden put together and off they go. So I do appreciate that part of it.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Oh, shit. Hello, comments. We're still doing this. Rescued more Chevys with his Ford than other Fords. I went back to look because I'm like, wait, he had a Ford Mustang. They have a Range Rover, so I don't know. Not the best. Hey, we got AJ Raider. What's going on?
What's up, AJ?
Glad you could join.
All the people are coming out for this one. I guess me, talking earlier, are just bringing all the people back. So I'm glad I could just do that.
Maybe we are. So
may the YouTube gods bless this review. Please, YouTube, we love you. Please, please, please. So
I hope so, because I'm about to show you I might show you some messed up shit here. I wonder. We're about 22 years removed from this movie. I wonder if it that could have been in that time. That's still the shocked value of, oh my god, this movie. That's insane. Like I said, they didn't know what was coming a year after that, 2 years, 3 in that those first 10 years of the 2000s. There, So maybe it just still struck a wrong chord with people because it's horror and it's
Well,
they think it's just lowbrow or something. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, shit, for 12 million, what did I say? $12 million, and you still made like where's my notes? 28? Look for that. Yeah, you $12 million budget and 28 million worldwide. So I mean, you made, I guess, technically a profit. You made
well, to be fair though,
so
I guess not to be fair because the critics weren't. Think about this time period in horror, and it probably explains a lot about why and who I am today. This is the torture porn era of horror, from the Saw films to the everything Eli Roth ever did, stuff like this, to the more gruesome slashers like Texas Chainsaw and Halloween and everything else. So many critics hated the torture porn era. It makes me want to throw them against the wall because it's some of the what literally all the torture porn era was. They took the 70s stuff and they made it more graphic. And literally, this was done 20 years ago or 30 years ago, whatever. And they just upped the ante. And it never got the appreciation that it deserved. Now, horror fans love it. Eli Roth is a modern day horror legend for what he did. From Cabin Fever to the Hostel movies to now Thanksgiving and everything else. So this is perfectly in that pocket of the torture porn era that does not get the attention that it deserves, does not get the love that it deserves. And why I like talking about these movies so much because I'm so passionate about it. Because like you, I grew up, coming out of high school with these movies, and I loved every one of them. This made me want to go to the movies. You know what I mean?
Bullet for My Valentine, I think, right? That came out right like 2009. That was also when I was in high school.
That was pretty good. Yeah, it was not bad.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned because like the thing that this has to stand on is not only its cast, which again for as small as it is,
solid cast, yeah, solid,
and its kills. So, I debated because I'm like I got some that aren't as graphic, and I have some that are. And my logic is, I mean, there are people that do horror makeup tutorials on YouTube, and you don't see them getting taken out. Right. You have to understand this is not real. It's not a documentary. It's just you just appreciate the art form. It's just what it is.
It's makeup. Okay? It's makeup YouTube. We're not showing dead people. Believe me. No, I'd have a lot more fun of it if we were showing actual dead people. That'd be so cool. But we can't do that. But whatever.
No, we can't do Cannibal Holocaust where we impale somebody and we think we actually killed the girl. And
hey, Cannibal Holocaust, another review on the Straight YouTube channel with Frank and myself. So that was a fun one. So go watch that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed that one. I'm kind of mad. But
love that movie.
I would have sat there and worn the blanket over my shoulders that we made. Like that's the dumbest thing. You watch this really fucked up horror movie and do the cutest thing of like, oh, we're gonna have a date night and watch this movie.
You could have worn a monkey costume with half of your brain hanging out. Could have done that too.
Right.
Or eat some turtle soup. Either way, it works. So
yeah, I actually watched that scene because I'm like, I've cleaned animals before. It's not going to bother me. I'm like, it is a little messed up that it happened, but I was like,
the only people who care about Cannibal Holocaust are the same ones that are the PETA morons that think, oh God, animals are better. Well, I don't know. They're just idiots.
Well, PETA is kind of a joke. You don't sit here and attack someone like Steve Irwin on the day of his birthday, like after he has passed away. Like, get the hell out of here with that.
No shit. No.
You guys are a fucking joke. Anywho, so on that happy note, you first, as we know the rules of a horror movie, the first thing you should not do is, be too hot people doing the dirty.
No screwing.
The woods. Yeah, right. So while the rest of the cast go off to go find the gas station or find anything to get out of there, these two stay behind and start blanking some uglies, and that of course goes about as well as you think because this is one of those moments right before disaster. Francine you don't really see Kevin Zegers die. She's like looking at his ear on the ground.
Yeah, she finds his ear on the ground. We don't see his body until a little bit later on in the movie.
Yeah, and if you can't tell, right behind her is Mr. Big Boy back there, Sawtooth, I believe.
Sawtooth, yeah.
He just yoinks her right up by her mouth with
great kill.
Barbed wire. which is pretty brutal. And yeah, then like I said, we get to the cabin. Every one of our casts finds this. And you think, oh, good. And like you said, Jeremy Sisto's character mentions, he's like, have you ever heard of a little film called Deliverance? I'm like,
no shit. Yeah, it's like that's what's so funny. Like, you've heard of these things, and yet you just walk in. Like, if I think it's fair to assume if Jeremy Sisto in this film has heard of Deliverance, he's also seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So he's like, maybe we shouldn't go in this abandoned looking cabin with 15 cars parked out front and all these random jaws in a jar full of formaldehyde. Maybe we shouldn't go in here. Like, you know what you're doing, and yet you're still doing it. You're a moron, dude.
He's the Randy of this film, and it does bug me a little bit when it goes through that.
He's a less smart version of Randy from Scream. Like, he's referencing things, and he's still doing the things. But whatever.
I do appreciate the scene of them walking around the house and like seeing the stuff, and I'm like, it kind of still again gives me the Texas Chainsaw vibes where it's like, when Pam in Texas Chainsaw, when she falls in that room, and she's seeing all the stuff.
Chicken, like, dude. There's something about that shot of that chicken in the cage that's scarier than anything else in that house. It's like, I mean, of course, you've got skin curtains and chairs made out of people bones,
bone couches.
But you know, the floor is full of chicken feathers. Dude, we can spend 5 hours talking about Texas Chainsaw anytime you want. I am down for that shit. But I get what
my point is. I know it's like it's just we're jerking off the set decorator right now because it's like, but I'm like, get up, leave. What do you do? I know it's like she's still just like, oh my god. It goes on for way too goddamn long. I feel like this was kind of the same way where I'm like, the first issue. I mean, you see Eliza Dushku picking up like the bowl. She's got like, wow, this is a lot of car keys for one house. It's like, are you not getting it? Like, get out. It's not until like she sees the jar of teeth. Carly sees the teeth in like the bathroom. They see the shit in the fridges. It's not until they see like the hand come out of like the pot there, and it's like, oh, maybe we should leave. I'm like, no shit, guys. But I mean, if that's the
you know what, I'm so glad that they went inside. Which, number one, if you're ever in this scenario and you're walking through the woods, first of all, make sure for the size of that cabin, you could have just stuck your head in the door and seen everything. You don't need to walk around step by step. But number two, send one person in and everybody else stays by the door. So if shit does go bad, you can pull old boy out. Just saying, don't everybody rush in at one time. Just survival knowledge here. But
if you're assuming Jeremy Sisto hasn't seen Texas Chainsaw, I'm like, yeah, we didn't learn from Kirk. You don't just walk into somebody's house.
Now, I will say, we should have had a shot like, from the original Chainsaw of that great ass shot from under the swing coming right up on them shorty shorts. We could have had one of these with Eliza Dushku or Emmanuelle Chriqui. Either way, I would have been good with it, but we didn't get that.
That's a torso shot. I think she was wearing shorts. I mean, you could have done that with her or something.
No, she had like, what are they called? I think they were pants.
Oh, no.
Like they were like high pants or something. It was not the shorty shorts that we got in Chainsaw. But,
Chainsaw. And
we can't be also lucky.
I know. So, fair warning. Here's your jump scare, but it's fake. So when we get back to the cabin, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. They do hide under the bed because they do hear the truck coming back, and the hillbillies are towing. Actually, oh damn! What was that car? Hold on.
The Range Rover. They're towing the Range Rover.
No. What are they towing it with? Because we're still doing this fight. What is that? A Ford? I don't remember what their truck was because they're towing both of those cars back.
I think that's Chevrolet. It looks like an old Chevy pickup. But one thing I will say about this scene is this whole sequence here is once again referenced right out of both the 74 Chainsaw and the 2003, because this whole thing starts with when we see Francine getting sawed in the mouth, Then once the teens go to their cabin, they go hide under that table, and we see Francine get thrown down on the table. And this is where it calls to the 2003 Chainsaw, which hadn't came out yet, where the whole Jessica Biel hiding under the table as her boyfriend's getting butchered and the blood's coming through. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite shot in this movie, in this whole sequence right here. I loved how they did that. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I had to kind of backtrack a little bit here with this, because when they're hiding underneath this little bed and the table, they're like actively hiding from these guys coming back from towing their cars that they found, and they just kind of throw her on the ground, and she is like she's not staring because she's no longer on this living plane, but she's leaking blood from her mouth. Yeah, she gone. And it's like it's trickling right towards where they're at underneath the bed. It's like they're trying to not get blood on them. And the hillbilly even like drops one of his shotgun shells, and it's like he's trying to fumble to reach it, and it's like getting closer and closer to Chris. He's like pulling his hand in, like, oh Jesus Christ, It's a tense scene, man. They like this. They wait till they fall asleep to try to make their getaway. I don't know if it's him. It might be him that has it. Now, I'm telling you right now, I would have been nabbing that shotgun from Billy Bob right there, because that's the first thing. He's not even holding it he's not even like holding it very well. I'm like, you could have easily slipped that shotgun out from underneath his hand there. That was the first thing to do. But whatever. Because the one thing I remembered from this movie, because I thought it was a very also, not that this isn't tense, but when they try to go out the main door, it's got one of those little springs on top of the door. When you go to open it, it swings it back. It's rusty, it's creaky. They go to open it, and it starts making noise. And Chris grabs that rusty spring.
He gets the skin of his hand caught in that spring, trying to keep it quiet.
Eliza Dushku is trying to open the door as slow as she can, and it's just ripping his skin open. And I'm like, Jesus, how do you not scream? I know he's like a doctor, and he's trying to, he's like, I know what's going to happen to me here, and work through the pain, but damn, dude, like. And of course, it goes sideways. Of course, it doesn't work because it's a cool shot. They look open, and Big Boy's got his one eye open, like looking at him. And I'm like, oh fuck, you might as well run out from there. And they run out into this car graveyard, which really sells the point home that you're like, oh holy crap, they have been doing this for a while. All these people that have traveled through here are all dead. There's even like there's a baby doll on the ground. You're like, damn, it's probably even like little kids. Everybody.
Oh yeah. Well, hell, just look when they're inside the cabin, how many jaws are inside that jar full of formaldehyde I was talking about a minute ago.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of people in one jar. Like that thing was full. You know what I mean? They've been doing this a long time. This is not new.
Yeah. So this right here kind of sells the point that these people are pretty messed up, but also they've been doing this for a while. And you get so you, like I said, this picture here is kind of has at least most of the cast here. The hiding out from them, they grab that truck and they start hauling ass towards them. And
except for Jeremy Sisto. Jeremy Sisto in this scene is so good though. Run out, he causes the distraction by swearing at him and running away. Like, dude, you really think he runs uphill? Who runs uphill? Like, you're a moron, dude. What are you doing? Like, you're stupid.
Yeah, so they right there. That's one of the other things I remember from this movie so much. Right there is Three Finger, who's off on the right there. You want to talk about like just having the fucking time of your life doing a role? I'm like, this guy just has so much fun. He is just the most hysterical, unhinged of the three. And there's just like, it's just a simple little shot. It's like he like giggles and he just starts running like through the grass, and I'm like, I don't know why, but I just love that. He just
Three Fingers is the mascot of this universe. He's the only one that I believe you see in every film. I mean, obviously he's the star of 1 and 2, and then once you get into the background, they kind of flesh out more things. But yeah, he's the Leatherface, the Michael Myers of this franchise for sure.
First of 2 credits that go to Stan Winston. I stole this from I'm assuming it's the actual Stan Winston, like from a Facebook page. probably the best thing I could find of like the picture of the three from this movie. So, like you said, yeah, you got Three Finger off on the left, One Eye in the middle, who
and
had trouble.
Sawtooth. Yeah.
Sawtooth is the big boy. They're on the end.
Right.
Yeah, they chase him down. Chris decides he's going to run one direction. He takes a shotgun blast right to the back of his calf. Like you said here, like Jeremy Sisto is like, yeah, I'm going to run this way and distract him. And I mean, this dude is a runner. He's a track star because, man, he was hoofing it. Holy shit. Through them woods where it's almost uncomfortable because you're thinking like me, I'm like, man, I would have smacked into a tree at this point probably if I ran the wrong goddamn way.
Oh, yeah.
But
I do have to say, great placement of those arrows as he's shooting Jeremy Sisto in the back. Like, he had a nice grouping on those things. Like, that takes some, he's a true hunter. Like, that takes some skill for that kind of bow. So, shout out for your hunt skills.
So, yeah, the two guys run off in the two different directions so that, Carly and Jess do pick up Chris again. Their plan is, well, their truck is still running. Let's just jack their truck and get out of here. So they all pile in the truck, and Jeremy Sisto is still running through the woods, as is custom in most horror movies. And once again, it's not real, but it's kind of a heartbreaking scene. They meet up on the road, like they pull the truck up, and he's running. You're almost home free, my guy, and he just gets stopped right there. And if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, he has his little Boromir moment where he gets
Boromir. Yeah. There's no way in. There's no way post watching Lord of the Rings that you don't reference that scene when you look at this. Like, you cannot get around that. It's like they duplicated it or somebody copied somebody. I don't know the order, but either way, they both work. So.
Well, this came out in 2003, which was after, but if they filmed it in 2001, that is when the first movie came out. So I'm like, maybe they were actively watching it and said, hey, that's a cool scene. Let's do that. Let's have a little sacrifice moment. So, yeah, unfortunately, he just barely does. He doesn't even make it, which sucks. And because nothing can ever go right, they run out of road here. There's a tree blocking their path after they've been driving for some time. So, and they're stuck in the mud. So again, I don't remember what this car was, but hey, it's not going anywhere. And it's also getting dark. If you notice the headlights are on, it's getting dark. So it's also not a good good time.
Now, I couldn't help right at this scene once they take off. I've been watching a lot of Stranger Things season 5 videos, and that running up the road, running up that hill song, I've heard it a lot here recently, and that played in my mind as I watched this scene, as I watched it run up that damn hill. So that did infect my brain. So I might purge that, but whatever. So.
All right. So after they have come to a complete stop now, and left the car on the road, they get to a point. Charlie here sees something could maybe be your salvation. I don't know if this is an actual shot from the movie, but you get the point. They come across a watchtower, a ranger watchtower. Yeah, fire tower. So hey, there could be a radio, there could be maps, there could be something in here to help you out with your escape. And of course, I have it's nighttime, and this little creepy bastard and the other two they got their torches and their pitchforks.
Great makeup on Three Tooth and the hillbillies, by the way. Like I don't think we mentioned that yet, but I like how they look. They're horrific, but it looks real. Like, it doesn't look out. It doesn't look like it's not believable how messed up they are. I do appreciate that.
I think when because remember, I always cheat and I copy my homework from Dead Meat James. They said the guys use like actual medical,
best, right?
Yeah, they use like actual medical like deformities and things like that to make their prosthetics for this movie, so that it is believable. They did an awesome job. I love the shot of him in the dark because it's not only like it's just horrifying. Like, I love stuff in the raw daylight that like this is still horrifying as shit. If you saw this big fucker come out of the woods. But now you can't see them.
Yeah,
that makes it worse.
That's one thing I will say. I like the makeup, but I like this makeup better in the dark than in the They don't look nearly as good in the daytime as they do in the dark. So they should have had more night scenes, I think, in this movie. Maybe would have made it a little bit better, but too late.
Yeah, trust me. Somebody who works in the dark and the makeup, I'm like, trust me, just lend it to yourself. Like, I tell people, do your makeup.
Right.
And then like turn the light off in the room you're in. Or if you're in a bathroom or something, just turn your light off. Just look at it for a second.
I mean, perfect example. Look at the Michael Myers mask. You look at it in the light. It's not scary. It's not. It's a white face. It's nothing.
It's
you put
jarring,
it in some
but, like,
blue and orange lighting. Now you got something. So. Dark works, man.
Yeah. All right. I don't really have. Well, I guess the point I couldn't find anything. They do find a radio. I couldn't find a picture of that, but they try to
work
call
at
out
the worst time possible.
Yeah, it's like if you've ever seen a movie, it's like they're trying to get help. Nothing happens, and they're sitting there looking over the edge. They see the torches of the hillbillies down there, and they look, and I think Chris even says like, "Oh, I think they're going away from us." And then here comes the radio crackling through. Hey, is anybody there? And it's like, damn it!
Right.
It's like you want to be happy they got somebody on the other end, but damn it, now they found where we're at. And they don't even know where they're at because the Ranger's like, you know your position. It's like, how the hell would I know? I don't know.
Right.
You don't really know where you're at. Maybe they can track it, but there's probably a reason why no one's in this fire tower because obviously, cannibal hillbillies.
I would imagine they're probably in that car graveyard and in those hillbilly stomachs by now, if I had to guess. But
probably. So of course the hillbillies, they have torches, and of course what they're going to do is, well, fuck it, they're going to set the watchtower on fire.
Smoke them out.
Enough.
Pull the George Bush method. It works.
Well, it's funny you say that because there's a lot. They bust out the window and they're like, "Screw it, we're going to jump in the trees." And I think Carly says, "I would rather jump than burn to death." I'm like, that's a wild thing to say right about now, isn't it? Holy!
I thought 9/11 as well. I'm like that. Obviously the famous. I thought that as well.
They filmed this in 2001. I don't know exactly when. I'm like, I know, but it is just a really wild thing to hear in a movie. Especially if this came out post 9/11. So, I mean, that is just hilarious to have that in a movie. But they do as such. They jump into the canopy of trees, and they're tiptoeing through these trees trying to get away from these guys. And, of course, again, star of the show right here, Three Finger, he just scurries his little ass up the tree. And, again, this is the second... The second credit I have to give to Stan Winston here because I stole this straight from their page. You get one of the coolest kills with Carly, and it's in sequence here. Like top left, he sneaks right up behind her on the tree. Then boom, right through her mouth. And they have this cool zoom shot of out of her eye. You just see like the life leave her eyes, and it pans up above her head, and her head's still just stuck on the axe on the tree. And then they CGI'd her body just dropping through the branches. And I was like, damn, that a collective effort. I know I put that in the trivia somewhere where I saw it, where it's like this is a collective effort of like practical and some CGI effects and everything.
I actually looked into that. Apparently they cut out like part of a cheat, and she stuck like her head through it. So from this point, so from like everything from like this down, like including the trees and everything, they actually CGI'd all that. Which for 2003, this is not bad CGI for 2003 for this movie. No. It looks pretty. Dark. I mean, it's not. This isn't like Pirates of the Caribbean 2 CG levels with all of that, but it's not bad. It's pretty decent. I mean, hell, compared to look at half the CGI we get today, it looks equal footing. I would say. I mean, it's not really that out of the world. So.
I mean, I'm not mad that like it was a CGI body. It does work, and like I said, it's dark out. You can't really. You get the point that her body dropped. I'm like, I don't know. You could take half of a body and just drop it, and it'd still probably work. But just quick release it or something.
Now I will say, I thought of two deaths whenever I rewatched this yesterday. The opening of Saw 5, where they all have the collars around their neck, and they get pulled back to the wall, and chick gets her head cut off and it slides off into the floor. I thought of that. Oh, that CGI was worse than this. And then the end of Hard Eyes from this year, there's a very similar death where I can't remember which character it is, but they get very similar situation. They get pinned to a deal and like their head removes itself from the body, so. This kind of death has been used a good bit in horror before because it looks cool. It's oh my god, that's not supposed to happen. So that's why I said.
I think she had the best one. So
I don't know. I think Francine's death was pretty good with that razor wire in the mouth. That's my favorite.
True. I think for a practical, I mean, I'm assuming that was a practical effect when she's laying on the ground, that wire in her mouth. That is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I mean they could do some like rubberized razor wire or something, and actually do like the prosthetic makeup. Yeah, that's my favorite of all of them. There's some pretty good kills. They're not bad.
You can probably fit it's probably like a thing. It fits around like your cheeks, and it's got the cuts, and it's like a fake wire, and it just goes around her head.
You want to know how she got these scars? You want to do a little Joker there?
Yeah, it's a weekend in West Virginia.
Right.
I don't have the transition here of Chris and Jess. I almost forgot her damn name. I'll just call her Eliza Dushku. They use the tree to they distract Three Finger, and they get him to get to a certain point on the tree, and Chris has got the branch held back, and in his own words, I'm gonna knock this fucker out of the tree. They sent him to the forest floor, which was pretty fucking funny.
I wish they would have put in the Wilhelm scream whenever he gets hit with the tree, though. That's the one thing I wish they would have done. That would have made it so much good.
That would have been great. And then they have a nice little camp out behind the waterfall, and it becomes morning. So now, I don't know how these, seemingly they can track pretty well, but they just don't find them. And I'm pretty sure that same rock face, the Chris and Jess, I think, make it that same rock face that we saw in the beginning with the two rock climbers, and they see a road, like a paved road, and you're like, ooh, okay. But of course, they're right on their heels. There's an axe that goes through a tree like an inch from Chris's head, and it's like, oh, shit, they're here.
Right.
And of course, another rule in a horror movie: once Chris he also gets yeeted down the mountain a little bit, and on the road, he happens to see a cop. He happens to see a cop coming up the road. He has a Dodge, if that matters. I don't know if that matters to anybody, but he's got a Dodge.
We're having car wars tonight. Car wars tonight in the Hartford.
Yeah, Car Wars episode 3. Revenge of the Chevy or something. I don't know.
I can't wait for the prequels for all the EVs to come into it. It's going to be fun.
Oh, god damn it, no. Hybrids. Hybrids are the
Rise of Tesla, Part 9. It's going to be horrible. So, whatever.
Damn it. It's Cyberman. But we get the cop coming up the road, and Chris stops him, and I don't know how else you explain it. Like, hey man, people are getting killed. Like, shit's going on.
Who's dead? Right through the eye.
He's like, were you the guys on the radio? And it's like, you could have said yes. I was like, just listen to me. I'm like, dude, just say yes and be like, we need to go. If you're any sort of help or any sort of way out of this, you don't live for long. Unfortunately, this poor guy.
Yeah,
he gets whapped right in the face.
Which, I mean, I know this is the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, but I love how it's always like the most yokel kind of, redneck dude they could find to be sheriff possible. Like they always, that's one of my favorite things about like cops in horror films. They're either like, if it's something like this, it's always some like, dude that just as country as cornbread, or they're just stupid. Like there's never competent police officers in these movies. And he's not alive long enough in this one for it to matter.
No.
But, he gets it pretty quick. So,
or they're the late great Arlie Ermy, and they're in on the whole fucking thing as it
was. Oh god, yeah, dude,
great character.
I love 2003 Texas Chainsaw. I'm looking at the figure from that movie right now. I actually have the Arlie Ermy figure as well. But yeah, I love 3 Chainsaw.
Anywho, so of course, that didn't work out so well. So they get taken back. This was the only picture I had of One Eye. They take the cop, they take Eliza Dushku, and Chris actually hitches a ride like a boss, honestly, underneath the cop car that Sawtooth steals. Yeah. And he rides that whole way back to the house. Not the place you want to be, but
which him crawling under the truck, that's another callback because we talked about Alan McElroy writing Halloween 4. Michael Myers does that in Halloween 4. Like the rednecks at the end of the movie, when Michael's going after Jamie, he hitches a ride under the redneck's truck, holds on, waits till they get going down the road, and then climbs up into the back of the truck. So McElroy does that in 2 of his horror films. So, it's a trope for him.
Yeah, just draw inspiration. So yeah, we get this, which sucks. She's Eliza Dushku's kind of out for the count right now and getting played around with one eye. He's like putting a knife up to her neck and threatening her. Doesn't speak much, but we have Chris to come in and at least save the day, and I think it's a pretty badass thing. I wish I had a picture. He while they go in the house, he takes the cop car and just runs it right through their fucking living room.
Oh yeah,
surprises them with that, and then they get into a tussle. He unties Eliza Dushku enough to where she can get one arm out, and I mean I think he even he puts a wrench through Sawtooth. He puts an axe through like 3 fingers, like shoulder. Right. He ran over one eye, so he's underneath the car.
Yeah,
but like none of these fuckers die. It's like that's what sucks, man. He gets like picked up by Sawtooth, thrown across the room.
Very Jason Voorhees of these hillbillies. Very similar.
Yeah. Eliza Dushku manages to grab the bow and arrow, and she puts an arrow right in the back of almost his neck of Sawtooth. He just turns around like, really, bitch? Like he's almost annoyed. Like, really? But yeah, I think this is finally where they grab the shotgun. They hightail it out of there while the hillbillies are kind of out for the count. And I mentioned this to Tex before we came in here. I love this picture because it's a great shot. But I'm like, the problem is, if you know anything about guns or how movies work and shit, there's props. Something tell me when he goes to pull that trigger, nothing's gonna happen. There's no barrels on that gun. You can tell it stops about a quarter inch in. I mean, whatever. It's probably a rubber cast gun, so you don't hurt your fucking self trying to do a stunt.
Well, it's much safer than that than giving an Alec Baldwin one. So I guess you get to live through that scene. So it looks like crap, but to be fair though, you got Eliza Dushku standing there and nobody's looking at that gun. Everybody's looking to the left side of the screen at this point. So maybe that was the cover.
I mean, you read left to right, so I mean, it's like, yeah, I saw her, and then I realized, oh god, that gun is not actually. Maybe put like they call them like the hero props, where it's like a little more realistic looking one that you have in a shot where you're gonna stare at it. So I'm like, it doesn't help. I just want to make fun of that.
Maybe I guess the prop department was out that day, and they had no guns left for whatever reason. So who freaking knows? But
I don't know.
It's glaringly standing out. It's one of those goofs in horror, like when you go back and watch it, it's like, oh, why is Michael Myers' mask pink with blonde hair? Like, what? Who? What? Like, what's going on here? It's kind of one of those things. Like,
they don't linger on the shot for long. It's probably just for a quick second. It's like you get the point. They walk out there. He has one shot left, and on the back of that cop's car was some extra jerry cans of fuel. Right. Which, again, it's like Jaws. That doesn't happen. It's not realistic. Who cares? He plugs that last shotgun shell into those cans, blows the whole fucking house up. So pretty cool ending. They with the hillbillies still in the house. I think he put one into Sawtooth, and he put the other shotgun shell into the car.
Yeah.
And I think that's the tow truck behind them. They can't ever keep this damn tow truck. These hillbillies. They jack the tow truck again. And we get one more. I don't know why he was like hiding. Maybe the thought he was shocked that he lived. But they go back to the gas station. This guy hides in the
rips the map off the wall. Yeah,
he just rips the map off the wall. Yeah. Right, and he just they just kind of have a little acknowledgement moment, and they drive off. That's the end of the movie. So
yeah, it's a simple plot, but I mean, hey, they've been making this movie for 50 years, so it obviously works. So, they're still making it today, just new and different versions. So,
there is a mid-credit scene, which I had a cool shot of it, and I wish I could have gotten it. There is a cop that does another cop that responds and sees the remains of the house charred.
Yeah.
And he's like searching through, he's looking through shit. And it was a cool shot because you see a silhouette in the background, you see somebody holding an axe, and it's a horrifying shot of Three Finger, and he just boom whacks that cop, and it's like, yeah, that's the end. Like, no, they're not dead. At least he's not. I think we assume the other two died because we never see him again, but I think Three Finger at least lives through the rest of them. So
and see, that's one thing negative about this that I will say. How that plot. Okay, we had two cops literally circling this place multiple times in this movie. So you're telling me either the cops are in on this thing, or they're just so incompetent that they can have a salvage yard right there, and you literally drive up like nobody's ever seen this before. Whereas like looking like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Let's take the 2003 Hewitt timeline, for instance. With Arlie Ermey. They established that the town is dying, everybody's leaving, and Arlie Ermey kills Sheriff Hoyt. He then becomes Sheriff Hoyt. He's not really a Hoyt. So that's why there's no police around to stop them. Whereas you had just two cops that easily found these people. They're all over this place. So makes it a little bit of unrealistic that they would have gotten away with it for this long without somebody knowing. Whereas some films, the town knows they do it and they just kind of let it go, but they don't say that in this movie. So,
maybe they try to avoid it. Maybe they know to not go there or something.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
But I mean, just that cop happened to know exactly where to go and find it, I guess you could say.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
he just.
That's what I'm saying. He had to have known. It's a huge plot hole, though. Like, for anybody who's seen even less than a handful of these movies, you're gonna be like, okay, either he's in on it or they're purposely avoiding. Like, what's going on here? There's no way you've got that much going on. And I don't know, whatever.
I don't know.
Do they?
All right. I don't feel like talking about the sequels because it's not relevant. I'm just gonna go to some trivia because
watch two. Two is the best version of this.
2 is very good.
3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5 aren't bad. They're just cheap, like direct to DVD prequels. But there's some pretty good. Like they have all the things that slashers have. They've got they actually bring nudity in those. There's more sex appeal in those. The kills are
they're more of
this top, movie. Yeah. This movie doesn't have the gore porn, the torture, porn, whatever. The sequels do. So if you want to see the bloodier, sexier version of this, go watch the sequels. Now there's 6 of these films. I've only seen 5. Apparently, part 6 is like not in distribution and it's not on a streaming service. So I don't know what's up with that, but I've never seen it before. So
we're at the sail the high seas for that one.
I think we're gonna have to put on our Jack Sparrow hats and go look at it. So
yeah, give me a mega pint of rum and we'll go find it. I actually I found somebody who made stickers that say like a mega pint ? And I put it on my big fucking tumbler. I used to drink tea out of for the Haunted Cave. It's so goddamn funny. Along with all my other like horror stickers, but then I have mega pint. Makes no sense. All right. Trivia. Okay, so I need pictures. I should probably do that. So we'll talk about her first because why not?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you just leave this up. Eliza Dushku did do a lot of her own stunts for the movie, which is cool.
I liked her Macho Man Randy Savage elbow jump through the trees whenever she jumped out of the fire tower.
She did have an interesting approach to that. Yeah, I don't know why you went sideways, or shocked you almost fell.
I was hoping to hear like snap into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah, and then do the elbow. That could have been fun, but we didn't get that in this movie. So
she really jumped off the top rope. I'm telling you what.
Oh yeah.
Several of the cast and crew were covered in poison ivy throughout the filming of this movie, due to the chairs being placed. Oh God, yes. Due to the chairs being placed into what they thought was a group of weeds, only to later be discovered that it was a patch of poison ivy. discovered as a patch of the rash-causing plants. That was a weird way to say that.
Poison ivy sucks, man. I used to not be allergic to it, but at like 25 or 26, something changed in my DNA, and I got it bad. Like for an entire summer, I was covered. It was miserable. I hate poison ivy.
As far as I know, I'm like, I'll get itchy, but I don't like break out real bad. Nothing. So
I think I got poison oak because this was not just like a regular poison ivy, but once you've been in it, you'll never forget it.
Oh,
It's one of those things.
Yeah. I mean, I watched a kid at summer camp get bit by a fucking spider, and he had to go to the hospital because his arm, it was about that big.
I got bit by a brown recluse on my left arm, and they literally had to carve into my arm to get the poison out. It sucked. It was horrible.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to I don't have tabs, which really sucks. Don't worry about behind the scenes shit. Doesn't matter. Okay. This is who I was talking about. Emmanuelle Chriqui.
The more we talk about her, the worse I'm saying her name. So I'm just going to call her Emmanuelle from now on. I can say that part.
Right. So Emmanuelle, who plays
Hot Lady Charlie, number 2, will work. I can say that.
Right. The Laura Croft tank top there. I appreciate that. She actually dislocated her shoulder performing her fall through the trees. And apparently you can hear her shoulder pop on the production track of the theatrical sound mix of this movie, which that's metal as hell, man. Apparently you can hear her arm pop in the movie, which is insane.
I watched this on the DVD. I don't know if that's the theatrical track, though. I don't know if they altered it. I have no idea, but dang, that sucks. I've popped my shoulder up before. That's whenever you have to have somebody slam your arm back in the socket, you feel like death. Like that is awful to feel.
It's like when you get a broken bone, like that goddamn pain.
Yeah. You can't. There's no forgetting that. That's one of those things.
Yeah, this is very Hills Have Eyes looking. Director Rob Schmidt said on the commentary that he considered this film to be his own personal tribute to the classics like Texas Chainsaw from '74 and The Hills Have Eyes from '77. I think we mentioned that. Like we can see all the influence.
This is a clone. This is a child of those two films put together. It's exactly what this is. This is The Hills Have Eyes on the East Coast with the Texas Chainsaw plotline is what this is. And hey, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's only so many original ideas out there. Just look at Hollywood today. That's why you get a new Spider-Man every 5 years or whatever. There's no new ideas, so we're going to keep remaking
the whole. Let's see. Where's that picture of what's her nuts? There she is. That'll work for that. The promotion for this film was minimal due to the MPAA deeming the majority of the TV spots and trailers, of all things, quote, too intense for viewers. Even the commercials that were aired were heavily trimmed. Again, this is that time where we're like, you'd think all the stuff has been done, and you're like, no, there's some stuff we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen this kind of stuff before in movies, and we're in the Wild West of making, like you said, making these over the top, like gory kills and torture porn as it eventually became. So yeah, people aren't used to that.
I really hope like posthumously the 2000s era gets appreciated like the 80s, maybe 10 or 15 years from now, when people like look back and compare. Maybe that's when it'll get noticed. Maybe it was because you either loved it or you hated it. Like that era of horror. Oh, they're just torturing porn. Blah 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 blah. Like, well, what do you expect? You're watching a horror film. Like this isn't Toy Story here. This is gonna be bloody, So when you've had multiple decades, they had to up the ante to now go to something like Terrifier, where Arthur Clown is tying a girl upside down naked and sewing her in half and showing it. Like, what's horror going to be like in 30 years? Like, I can't wait to see where it is then. Like, I hope I'm alive to see it. I'm like, I can't wait. But
like,
who knows
yeah, like in the time, The Exorcist was terrifying, but I'm like, but today I'm like, I think when I say
Exorcist
once,
is
I'm like,
nothing.
oh, it's cute.
Yeah.
I was like, it's cute, But at this point,
Well,
so that's why I wonder. Eventually,
even
we're
like,
gonna look at this and be like, that was it,
even watching Texas Chainsaw, the original, like Alex from Alex and the Garbage Man a few months ago, he showed his girlfriend for the very first time Texas Chainsaw 74. And
Nice.
she wasn't like incredibly blown away because it's not a gory, bloody film. Like when you see Pam getting put on the meat hook or Franklin getting the chainsaw, whatever kill it is. Toby Hooper was meticulous with cutting that film because he wanted everybody to be able to see it. So
You had to.
the gore of each generation, kind of represents the era that we're in. But this movie's not that gory. Like, now, maybe I'm just jaded from multiple decades of watching gore films, and I think this is nothing at this point. But there's nothing really that bad in this movie. I can think of many, many worse
films. Yeah. All right, let's get the one picture I have of him. Just like what I was thinking about when you said Texas Chainsaw. It's like, well, really, you understand what's happening. You get the point, but you don't see it. The only person you actually still don't even really technically see get killed is Franklin. So with this, One Eye is actually the only cannibal who didn't actually personally kill any of the people in this movie. To be fair, he actually didn't kill anybody that we saw.
Well,
now
with that shot there.
Go ahead. I'm looking for a picture.
I was just going to say, with that shot, the most disturbing thing about that scene is not the horror of violence; it's the horror of her being tied to that bed, and like as he's stroking her forehead and hair. Like, what's being, like, I'm not going to say it out loud, but what's being implied. And like, if you watch The Hills Have Eyes 2, the remake of Hills Have Eyes 2, they show the result of what the after effect of the girl being tied to that bed in the mutants, cave or cabin or whatever, where she births the child of that bad guy, and then he bashes her in the skull with a rock or whatever. So the implied sexual violence is what's in that scene, but different kind of violence.
In this movie, but I'm like, that's not to say that they probably didn't have a hand in this right here. So
100%, yeah. Oh yeah, that. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's it's a hardcore era.
Right. All right. We mentioned this already, but obviously Kevin Zegers and Lindy Booth play a couple in another movie a year later of Dawn of the Dead. So yeah,
God, I love Dawn of the Dead. That one-armed zombie trying to run in the door in the mall scene whenever they're at so many scenes from that movie. I hope we get to that one day as well. Dawn of the Dead by Zack Snyder, one of my favorite zombie films of all time.
I want to say we did that, but I'm about to start making a list. I don't even know what we've done anymore. All right, let me get Three Finger. During one of the last scenes of the movie, Eliza Dushku actually set actor Julian Richings on fire. Yikes!
Oh shit!
That sucks. I mean, there were some cool fire stunts, and I wondered if some of the actors actually did it, or if there was like stunt guys in the suits that were doing it. Because
there were stuntmen from what? Well, I think with fire stunts, because like I know Kane Hodder is like, obviously he's the main fire guy, but I think there's like a board in Hollywood or something of stunt. It's like a subdivision within stuntmen or whatever, where you can't do a fire scene without having them there. I think that's how that works. I could be wrong.
I was gonna say, as somebody who does play with fire in a haunt, I can understand that. It's a certain that's why I say when I watch a movie and I can tell it's an actual person doing a fire stunt, I'm like, I always appreciate a good fire stunt because I know.
Well, that's why you've got the armor deals with the guns, the stunt crew does the stunts. Everybody has their job. I don't want the artistic director, handling the fire stunts. That's not your job. You know what I mean? You're not qualified for that.
No. Oh yes. Okay. I think I may have mentioned this, but this is funny as hell. When the four are running from the cabin after awakening the mountain men, Desmond Harrington broke his right ankle after landing on the opposite side of a log, which then made this a difficult film to shoot for some of the later scenes after his left leg is, quote, shot, and he has a limp on his right leg. So, again, there's just so many unfortunate things these actors, like, you get shot in one leg, and like I said, they may have already filmed that scene, and he landed on a log the wrong way, and now you got to pretend you're limping on your good leg, which is actually now your bad leg because you actually broke your ankle. But hey, man, commitment to the bit, you fucking made it work.
That's the, you suffer for the art, like we were talking about earlier, but, accidents happen, and, you do what you got to do and move on. That's all that it is.
All right. And of course, like I said, I'll use a picture that I got from Stan Winston because, of course, I'm going to always wax poetical about this man. Despite only being credited for his producing makeup master, Stan Winston was pivotal in the key design of the Mountain Men, in particular Three Finger. This marks the second last major horror film he has been involved with before his death at 2008 at the age of 62. And the third slasher horror film he had been involved with following an uncredited work in Friday the 13th parts 2 and 3, the latter of which he had been a core designer for the original hockey mask of the horror icon Jason Voorhees in the respective mongoloid appearance of Jason for those two parts, which, yeah, you can see where that kind of comes through on some of these. You even said, like, even Sawtooth has like a very Jason-like fucking, power to him. So
I don't.
It's the last thing
The legend of the hockey mask. That wasn't. See, I've heard different stories here because apparently one of the people that worked on set was a hockey player and had a hockey mask. That's the story I've always heard. I didn't know he had a hand in developing that.
I mean, once you get it, you probably have to. I mean, you're like, let's do something with this.
Like maybe one of the guys, maybe like both of these things are true. Like somebody had a hockey mask and then they designed an outfit. Maybe that's true. I don't know, but I didn't know that about it. It's interesting.
I know the one about Michael Myers when they're trying to figure out, well, what should it be? Like they had a clown mask and they just would show it. They wouldn't say anything. They would put it on an actor and show it to him. And they're like, that's cool. And then they took the mask that we all saw and he said the whole fucking room was quiet. They're like, that's it.
If you read the novelization of Halloween, he wears more of a Groucho Marx style clown mask. He doesn't wear the Shatner mask. So it is a bit different.
Clown mask in the beginning when he was a kid. It's like there's kind of the he has like a weird clown mask. All right, that's all I had. So, give me your final thoughts. I mean, we've beat this pretty simple plot to death, but I mean, would you recommend it to anybody? It's free on Amazon Prime right now. It just dropped on there. So, I mean, would you recommend it?
There you go. Yeah, if y'all haven't seen this one or any of the franchise, I would definitely recommend like at least the first two. If you don't want to go too deep into the weeds on prequels and straight to DVDs. Now, some of them are good or bad, whatever. But at least give the first two a try. Because if you've watched slasher films from really any decade since the 70s, you're gonna see tropes in here. And there's nothing that this specific movie does that's like, oh my God, this is the greatest blah ever. But it's still good. And, this is one of those movies that you can watch with your friends and have it on in the background or something. So it works on different levels. I'd recommend it. It's middle of the pack when it comes to slashers, but it's a good watch.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good, I mean, it's not fucking Oscar-worthy Shakespeare, but it's a good
film. I mean, this
movie.
Isn't Halloween, but it's still good,
Yeah. I mean, I've come across stupid shit on the Sci-Fi Channel of here's a genetically mutated bear that's going to kill people in the woods. I'm like,
dude,
I
can't tell you how many alligator versus octopus shark movies I've watched in my life. I've watched so many of those.
I know what you mean. It was like watching a car wreck. I was like, I can't look away. This movie's so dumb, but I'm having a good time.
Shark versus mega shark. Three-headed shark attack. Four-headed shark attack. I've seen all of those movies, so yeah, I'm well educated on this stuff.
The dreaded 5 shark. Now it's super personal. I don't know.
Oh
God. All right. Well, We'll wrap this up. So what have you got going on the internets or in the movie world
Well,
going on?
Thursday, I'm really looking forward to what we're going to do here. We're starting our 28 weeks coverage. We're going to do 28 days on Thursday. So make sure you're here for that. But I will say, if y'all want to go see a really good new horror film in theaters, go watch Dangerous Animals. It's in theaters right now.
We were just
Jack Courtney,
Big Shark.
It's a shark serial killer movie. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's a dude that runs shark tours and he's a serial killer. It's fun. It's got Jack Courtney starring. Hassie Harrison from Yellowstone. She plays the final girl in it. Great final girl. I thought she was awesome in this movie. So go watch Dangerous Animals. It's a Australian horror film. It's a gorgeous movie. Like, I don't know how it looks amazing. Just the ocean shots alone. Some of the CGI on the sharks is kind of dodgy at times, but it's good enough and it passes. And it's maybe it's in my top 5 of shark movies. I don't know where it's up there, but it's up there. So I dug it. Go watch it.
Yeah, as for me, I don't really do anything, but I'm excited that I love when I actually can come on here and say for sure, hey, we're doing this on Thursday or Tuesday or whatever.
Well,
and like you mentioned, we're going to lead up to the release of 28 Years Later. We're going to start at the beginning, almost actually 28 years ago. Good God, you couldn't have made that any closer. But we're going to start with 28 Days Later, which I think was 2002. So yeah, we're pushing it. And then the next week we'll do 28 Weeks Later, and then the movie will be released, and then the following Thursday, I believe, we'll finally get to do 28 Years Later, and I'm excited for this franchise. I love those zombie movies. That's there's that era. It's like 2002. We got these zombies that move at like Mach 5. It's like this is
28. 28 Days Later and Dawn of the Dead from 2004 that we talked about earlier. Two of the films that if it was not for those movies, The Walking Dead would not have been made. Those two movies brought the zombie genre back. That's how good they were. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So we'll dive into that. Speaking of horror movies, I'll talk about it later, but I had a weird idea for From Dusk Till Dawn-ish kind of short film idea. But I'll leave you guys with that because I'm still working it out. But yeah, maybe I'll do something like that. Where's the
Does it star Danny Trejo? Because the last one went pretty well with it.
I wish I could get Danny Trejo or Chief Martin to at least, or Tom Savini, for fuck's sake, just come and join the.
Maybe come join maybe George Clooney, maybe I don't know, Tarantino.
If I got praise from any one of those guys, I would be a happy fucking camper.
Right.
But anyway. We'll see you guys Thursday. We're going to talk about some British zombies with 28 Days Later. So we'll see you guys Thursday.
Adios.
Cheerio.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.